Amazon set business leaders and workers abuzz last week when its CEO Andy Jassy announced that staff would need to return to the office 5 days a week starting early next year. Until Jassy's memo, it may have seemed that companies, especially in the tech world, had accepted the reality of hybrid work. But as the labor market has cooled, the balance of power between workers and bosses has shifted, and company leaders have more leverage to demand in-office work. Here to tell us more is our Deputy Bureau Chief for Careers and Workplace, Vanessa Furmans. Vanessa, we've got this announcement from Amazon. What does the company say is the reason for this move?
In short, it really wants to reinvigorate Amazon with some of its original startup culture, which Amazon was founded in the late 90s, so that's quite a long time from now. Today, Amazon is a behemoth with over 1 million employees. Jassy, like a lot of CEOs out there, still thinks that in-office attendance is a big part of what drives innovation and collaboration.
So last year, Amazon told some workers they may have to move to what the company called main hub locations, like its headquarters in Seattle or offices in New York or San Francisco. What else did Amazon do to lay the groundwork for this return to the office announcement?
Well, they have been toughening in-office requirements for some time. Last year, they made the call that everyone needed to be back in the office at least 3 days a week. They did start tracking people to make sure that they weren't just swiping in for, as we say, a coffee badge. And it's unclear what the compliance was, but clearly Amazon or Jassy wasn't satisfied with that.
How are Amazon workers reacting to this news?
From what we can see, not well. By and large, a lot of employees, and this goes for people outside of Amazon, even if they like going into the office, they like having the choice. But a lot of workers have since recreated their lives around being able to work from home. That's childcare, that's family duties, that's commute time. Some people have moved. If you take a look at LinkedIn or any social media site, you will see a lot of angry reactions. Some employees have already declared they are looking for work elsewhere. Some have called this tantamount to a layoff announcement since they predict that a lot of employees will leave. The cynic take is that Amazon wants more people to leave, although Amazon is denying that.
Do we know what other employers are making of Amazon's announcement?
It has certainly caught a lot of attention. CEOs we've spoken to say they are buzzing about it. They're hearing from other CEOs about it, and they're also hearing from their workforces asking, are we going to follow suit? Are we going to have to do this? Amazon is seen as such a bellwether for a lot of companies, including the way they set wages, other types of workplace policies. We also have a poll out from KPMG, which regularly surveys U.S. CEOs, and the number of CEOs at this time around who said they expect in 3 years full-time office attendance was nearly 80%, and it was only 34% just in April.
Let's take a step back from Amazon for a second. Tech companies really led the way in working from home during the pandemic. What are some of the possible challenges tech companies could face as they call workers back into the office?
Yes, you're right. The tech industry actually introduced some of the most liberal remote work policies. And part of it was because so many of their tech staff worked on the coasts in high-cost cities. And the moment that they had the option to work somewhere else, many of them moved to other cities, not just to the suburbs, but to Boise, Idaho, or Salt Lake City. So it's already been a lot of upheaval for some of these tech staffers who have been called back to at least 3 days a week. But in the meantime, a lot of them say 5 days is just too much.
You know, a lot of this comes down to productivity. Are workers better off collaborating in person or having the flexibility to work remote? Do we have any data on who's right about this?
You know, the data is really all over the place. Certainly when you look at the broad data and in terms of productivity, remote workers really don't seem to be any less productive than in-office workers. In fact, there's data that suggests that they're actually more productive and that they spend more hours at their computers when they're at home, in part because they don't have those commutes. But there is other data that show that younger workers, more junior workers, people straight out of college and so forth, who are really still getting the hang of corporate work life and their jobs, and all of that really struggle with being purely remote or remote mostly, or simply not in the same city as their manager.
That's Vanessa Furmans, Deputy Chief of our Careers and Workplace Bureau.
For more than a week, 33,000 Boeing employees have been on strike, calling for higher pay and more benefits. On Wednesday, Boeing announced that it would also be furloughing some non-union workers to save money during the walkout. Most of those workers are in Washington state, where Boeing is the second largest employer behind Amazon. From Seattle, member station KUOW's Casey Martin reports on how the strike is being felt in the region and beyond.
Before he was an airplane mechanic, Jake Meyer considered working at a Seattle shipyard. He was trying to decide which would be the more stable choice to raise his family.
And everybody always said Boeing over shipyard, and, well, this is how we're being treated.
Meyer is on strike with 33,000 other machinists at Boeing. They make on average $66,000 a year, according to their union, the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers. They say that isn't enough. A report from Redfin found a person needs to make over $170,000 a year to buy a home in Seattle. Boeing had offered a 25% general wage increase, which they called an unprecedented contract offer, but the union members rejected it. This past week, Meyer was on the picket line outside the Renton plant, just south of Seattle. Meyer says one of the reasons he's striking is that he wasn't making a livable wage at Boeing.
We've already been living paycheck to paycheck, and so now I'm going to have to be pulling other jobs, 2 to 3, just to try to keep up.
If the strike continues another 2 weeks, strikers will get a small amount of pay from the union, but it's only $250 a week. Meyer says he's thinking about getting a side gig, working for DoorDash or doing childcare. A lot of other people on the picket line said similar things. As it enters its second week, it's not just the striking employees that could soon face financial hardship.
For every one direct Boeing job, there are 4 indirect jobs. So you can see how this will ripple through the economy if this goes on for very long.
Scott Hamilton is an aviation expert at Lehem Company, an aviation consulting and analysis firm. He says that he expects Boeing to cut back on spending for the duration of the strike. And that means the biggest potential losers could be all the suppliers that support Boeing, companies that make springs, seats, and sheet metal that go into planes.
Boeing uses suppliers in something like 45 states in the lower 48, and every one of those suppliers is going to be affected.
Suppliers like Spirit Aerosystems in Wichita, Kansas, which builds airplane fuselages and flight decks. Hamilton says 60% of their business goes to Boeing.
That other 40% isn't going to keep the 60% afloat that they're missing from Boeing.
Spirit Aerosystems didn't respond to a request for comment. 15 other suppliers we reached out to in Washington state also didn't respond or declined to comment. Anderson Economic Group, a consulting firm that evaluates financial damage, has done an initial assessment of the financial impact of the strike. Here's CEO Patrick Anderson.
Over $100 million lost to Boeing and supplier employees already. And we've got $10 million of losses to other businesses directly caused by this already. A lot of that in the Seattle area.
Boeing's Washington operations are concentrated north and south of Seattle. In those communities, many businesses we talked to said they weren't feeling the pinch yet. But Anderson says that could change if a deal isn't struck.
A strike that drags on 2 weeks, 3 weeks, really costs the local economy where you have a lot of workers.
However, he added that it likely wouldn't be catastrophic to the region's economy, given how many people work in the tech industry. For NPR News, I'm Casey Martin in Seattle.
Funny, I could swear I smell smoke. Gah! Fire! Fire!
In the Great Plains and the western U.S., climate change is putting a growing number of people at risk of wildfire. That's as the number of firefighters and fire management professionals is not enough to meet the danger. Now, a firefighting training program designed primarily for women hopes to fix that. Nebraska Public Media's Brian Beach traveled to the Sandhills of Nebraska and has this report.
On a cool, overcast morning in northern Nebraska, a small section of the vast prairie is burning. Today, the fire is intentional.
Yeah, if you get light fuels on the edge there, feel free to sling it in.
A group of several dozen people Mostly women, dressed in bright yellow jackets and dark green pants, carry out this prescribed burn armed with drip torches and water tanks.
Just kind of sling it in to grab this heavier fuels. Okay. You get real light at the edge, sling it in there. Yeah, awesome.
The procedure is called blacklining. The edge of a plot of land is burned and subsequently turned black to make it easier to burn the entire field later. But changing weather conditions means the time for this training session is limited.
We've got a pretty good window until 1800, but I think we're going to shoot for 1700 just to give ourselves some buffer.
Nebraska's Sandhills region is the perfect place for a prescribed burn. The area has 40 times more cows than people, and the treeless terrain stretches on for miles, interrupted only by the occasional windmill. It's here where the Women in Prescribed Fire Training Exchange, better known as W.TREX, has chosen to hold its annual event. Jennifer Mueller is training to be a burn boss. So, like a student teacher, she points out details and asks the group questions.
What's our fire behavior triangle again? Yeah, fuels, weather, topography determines fire behavior determines tactics. Yes, y'all are so sharp. Good.
Prescribed burns are a fairly standard procedure across the Great Plains. Sarah McCaffrey, a former researcher with the U.S. Forest Service, says they serve to keep ecosystems healthy and stop the encroachment of trees onto the grasslands.
The research that I've been involved in shows that when people understand the competence of the people, they are fine with prescribed fire as long as they want to know it's managed and that their concerns are being taken into account.
Technical skills aren't the only thing being taught at this event. Lania Quinn Davidson, one of the founders of W.TREX, says it also serves as an opportunity for women in the fire industry to network with each other and experience firefighting in a space that's mostly female.
It was really important for us to use W.TREX as a chance to provide leadership opportunities for women.
Only about 9% of firefighters are women, according to data from the National Fire Protection Association. Quinn Davidson says there are even fewer women in decision-making leadership roles. She hopes W.TREX's efforts to bring more people into firefighting will help meet a growing need.
We can't find the people to do the jobs. So programs like W.TREX provide a critical linkage to workforce capacity and not only inspiring people to get involved in this work, but then providing them the training opportunities so they can be competent.
So in the evenings, W.TREX participants take part in workshops where they discuss topics like burnout among fire management professionals, the barriers that women in fire face, and the differences in leadership styles between men and women. But out in the field, it's all about keeping watch on the live fires. Burn boss trainee Mueller keeps an eye on the clock as the group works to improve the time it takes to move equipment to another section and begin a burn there.
That last one was awesome. It was like 13 minutes. We went from 5-0 to 1-3. So that's real life, practical experience that you're going to be able to use later on.
W.TREX leader Quinn Davidson says that's evident in the results of the program so far. A quarter of people have found new employment opportunities in fire management, and more than half have advanced in their careers since the W.TREX focus on women began 8 years ago. For NPR News, I'm Brian Beach in Brown County, Nebraska.
In Springfield, Ohio, so you have a town of 50,000 people. They have 32,000 migrants put into the town almost overnight. And the people are so nice. You know, they want to be nice. They say, well, the mayor is actually looking for interpreters. He's looking all over for interpreters because they can't understand. The language is totally different. What the hell? I'm sorry. You have to move the people back to the country from which they came. You have to. You have to.
A TikTok video brought Haitian migrants to Greeley. They wanted jobs in one of America's largest meatpacking plants. A labor union says what they got here was abused. Here's Mark Salinger.
The JBS meatpacking plant in Greeley promised a path to a better life in America for the immigrants who came here from all over the world to work. Many say it became a nightmare. This is Chelly Moyse. He's a representative for the United Food and Commercial Workers Local 7 Union. He's translating from Haitian Creole to English, sharing the stories of two JBS employees sitting behind him who fear they'll be fired if we show their faces or share their names.
I saw the video on TikTok and I got in contact with Remy, and this is why I was able to come here.
The men from Haiti ended up in Greeley after seeing this TikTok video posted by a man named Mackinson Remy. Remy never officially worked for JBS, but the union alleges he was often at the plant and JBS knew exactly what he was doing. He used social media to recruit hundreds of workers from Haiti to work there. He charged them hundreds of dollars each, stashing them in overcrowded motel rooms and homes when they arrived in Colorado.
It was a house with 5 bedrooms with around 40 people inside of the house. It was only 1 kitchen and 2 bathrooms for 40 people.
The men say the working conditions inside the plant are dangerous, pushing them to process meat at unsafe speeds and show up to the factory even while they're sick.
My biggest concern right now is sometime when I'm working and I'm not feeling good and I asked to go home and they don't let me go home.
The union says these men and many others came to Greeley legally with nothing but the promise of a job and a better life. They're sharing their story with the hope that they'll be treated the way they should be.
We're supposed to get a better living condition, us or the cows that we are killing.
OSHA is now investigating workplace safety and health conditions at JBS in Greeley. The meatpacking company also fired its HR director at the plant, along with another HR official after these allegations surfaced. JBS says it's cooperating with all investigations and finds any allegations of poor living conditions, quote, unacceptable and upsetting.
What happened to this unofficial recruiter guy?
Yeah, so he was never really a JBS employee, but still JBS took the step of banning him from any of their plants after these allegations surfaced. The union maintains that JBS knew exactly what was going on. JBS got workers, the recruiter got money, they mutually benefited.
Wow. All right, just the start of this. Mark Salinger, thank you.
The man knot. Race, class, genre, and the dilemmas of black manhood.
Bank calls cops on black dad trying to cash check to buy school supplies, suit says. A bank manager called the police on a father of 4 who was trying to cash a check to buy school supplies for his children, after employees locked the doors upon seeing him, according to a racial discrimination lawsuit. It was the man's 3rd attempt to cash the $1,500 check issued by his employer at an Amerant Bank branch in Delray Beach, Florida, on August 9, 2022, a complaint says. While waiting outside the bank, the man, who is black, thought the employees might have locked the doors as part of a COVID-19 related protocol, but he noticed customers were inside, according to the complaint filed last month in Orange County Circuit Court. He later learned the bank's manager dialed 911, referring to him as 6 feet tall with dreads and wearing a black hoodie, repeatedly described him as black, and accused him of having a fraudulent check, the complaint says. The manager also mentioned an arrest record and possible weapon while speaking with dispatchers, according to the complaint. The manager's unnecessary, negligent, and reckless call to the police and her word choice placed him in great harm, the complaint says. Delray Beach police officers arrived within minutes and ordered the man to put his hands up, according to the complaint. He listened and was frisked, questioned, and feared for his life, according to the complaint. Officers then concluded he posed no threat and that his check was real, the complaint says. They walked him inside the bank and the manager cashed his check, according to the complaint. The 37-year-old father is suing Amerant Bank, accusing the business of discriminating against his race by denying him service and calling the police. McClatchy News is not identifying him to protect the identity of his children. The case, which is represented by attorney Natalie Jackson, the co-director of litigation for Ben Crump Law, PLLC, was transferred to federal court in Orlando on September 16, court records show. Ted White, the Delray Beach Police Department's public information officer, confirmed to McClatchy News on September 24 that officers responded to the 911 call and spoke with both parties on August 9, 2022. The bank manager was able to call the issuer of the check and confirmed that the check was not fraudulent, White said. An Amerant Bank spokesperson told McClatchy News on September 24 that the handling of the man's transaction was consistent with established procedures aimed at protecting the bank and its customers from potential check fraud. The company categorically denies any aspect of its handling of this transaction was based on race, the spokesperson said. Unlawfully harassed and disrespected. According to the lawsuit, the man was turned away from Amerant Bank in Delray Beach during his first visit on August 5, 2022, when a bank teller told him to return the following Monday because the only manager who could cash his check was not present. The next Monday, on August 8, 2022, the bank's employees locked the doors as he returned at 3:30 p.m. and told him it was closed, the complaint says. The man, described as anxious to cash his check to buy school supplies, took a half-day off work on August 9, 2022, to visit Amerant Bank earlier, according to the complaint. That's when the doors were locked again and police were called, the complaint says. The Amerant Bank spokesperson told McClatchy News that the man was told to revisit the bank during his first visit because his check was of a different check stock to that customarily used by Amerant's customer, the issuer of the check. He was asked to return to the bank pending verification with the issuer of the check, the spokesperson said. Amerant Bank denied that he visited the bank during typical business hours on his second visit and said video footage shows he tried to enter at 4:34 p.m. in regards to his third visit. The spokesperson said check stock that is inconsistent with that customarily used by a client is highly indicative of the commission of check fraud, and because the branch was unable to still confirm with issuer of the check, at that time on August 9, 2022, the police were called. The lawsuit says Amerant Bank employees never called the police on a white client who tried to cash a check from an Amerant Bank account, or denied a white client service. He was unlawfully harassed and disrespected solely because of the color of his skin, the complaint says. Alongside racial discrimination, the man accuses Amerant Bank, which is headquartered in Coral Gables, of intentional infliction of emotional distress and negligence. He's seeking an unspecified amount in damages and demands a jury trial.
This the city of Chicago.
New at 6, the federal government is suing the Chicago Admiral Theater, accusing the Exotic Dance Club of sexual and racial discrimination. The lawsuit claims the Admiral subjected female dancers to hostile and dangerous conditions. Among the allegations that the dancers were exposed to harassing and sometimes violent behavior from club patrons, including grabbing, groping, and sexual assault. Black dancers say management limited their shifts, controlled their appearance, and used racial slurs. Although entertainers qualify as employees under federal law, Admiral classified them as independent contractors. We reached out to the Admiral management for comment, but have not heard back.
Hitler had the supreme fascist state. And what was he worried about in Europe and in Germany? He was worried about white genetic annihilation.
I felt discriminated against. I felt very weak. I felt very small. I felt very alone.
Michael Zamron is one of 7 former and current employees at this Encino rehab facility owned by Executive Recovery Group, Inc., who are now suing the company, alleging that managers engage in Nazi salutes, have swastika tattoos, display white power gang signs, and use racist language.
They kicked out the Latino managers that were here, and all of a sudden they brought in a bunch of Caucasian people that had all these tattoos that were swastikas that literally were these Nazi symbols.
Yeah, it's shocking. In 2024, we're dealing with Nazi sympathizers.
Attorney Cameron Dolan-Shahi represents the 7 employees in the lawsuit.
This is a center that had Hispanic managers that were immediately replaced with white nationalists who then hired some of their friends and acquaintances who were part of a white prison gang who saluted each other with white gang signs and promoted white nationalist ideas. And that culminated in their treatment of the employees there.
And I saw the swastikas and tattoos. I saw the symbols in the staff that were hired.
Michael and the 6 other plaintiffs claim that the harassment and discrimination is always targeted at non-white employees.
It's loud and clear, Gina, that this is going on with not just the Latinos, but also the African Americans.
During a staff meeting at the facility, the lawsuit alleges
A white supervisor called out one of my clients and said that because he was gay, that he shouldn't bathe residents of a facility, specifically said this Puerto Rican homosexual should not be cleaning our residents.
It was made very clear by this guy that he was uncomfortable that I was Latino and that I was gay.
Now, the employees who filed the lawsuit, they say they complained for months and nothing was done, and that's why they are now suing. We also contacted the rehab center for comment. We were told that someone would get back to us, but no one ever did. Alex?
You know niggas die for equal pay, right? You know when I work, I ain't your slave, right? You know I ain't shucking and jiving and high-fiving. You know this ain't back in the days, right? Well, I can't tell how the way they killed Freddie Gray, right?
Maryland State Police hoping to settle a U.S. Justice Department investigation into its alleged racial discrimination by paying almost $3 million to those impacted. This according to an agenda item that was placed on an upcoming state board meeting agenda.
Now, this is a major development in a story that investigative reporter Tracy Wilkins has been following now for 3 years. Tracy's here to explain what this latest development means.
Details of a possible settlement between the Maryland State Police and the U.S. Department of Justice are private at this time. We don't know how many people could receive money as a part of this potential payout, but we do know the DOJ was investigating the agency over allegations it discriminated against current and potential black troopers. State police and the Maryland Attorney General are seeking to settle rather than move forward with a potential lawsuit. MSP's request for $2,750,000 is on the October 2nd agenda for the Maryland Board of Public Works, as first reported by the Washington Post. That board consists of the governor, comptroller, and treasurer. In 2022, the DOJ announced it was opening an investigation into Maryland State Police's hiring practices for potential violations of Title VII, which prohibits employment discrimination based on race, sex, or religion. This is what Maryland's U.S. attorney told us about the possible outcome of the investigation then.
For the agency involved and those who are employed and those who are looking for opportunities with the agency, any unfair practices will cease. And ongoing, there'll be fair employment practices for everybody.
Separate from the DOJ case, some former and current Maryland State Police of color have filed their own federal civil discrimination suit that covers a broader scope of allegations, including unfair promotion policies, retaliation, and demotions. The attorney handling that claim says they believe the MSP seeking a settlement with DOJ is good for their case as well.
The Department of Justice opens up very few such investigations, and the Maryland State Police, out of the many state and local agencies in the country of all kinds of government, was one that DOJ saw serious issues that warranted investigation. And that was very ratifying to our clients, that it wasn't just what they saw, that this attracted the attention of the United States Department of Justice.
In a statement, Maryland State Police say as a result of the investigation that the U.S. Department of Justice opened, State Police has undergone a rigorous and thorough evaluation of its hiring practices. Following careful consideration and negotiations, the department looks forward to hearing the settlement matter before the Maryland Board of Public Works and will reserve comment until then. If the Board of Public Works approves the $2.7 million and all parties agree, that money would go into an account and then be distributed to those who were identified as being impacted. The board votes next Wednesday. I'm Tracy Wilkins, News 4 I-Team.
Context of white supremacy. Gus T. Renegade in for another broadcast, hopefully to share constructive information on the system of white supremacy. Today's date, Friday, September 27, 2024. So I have been told, our weekly broadcast on neutralizing workplace racism. Not for spectators. If you have figured out any secrets, strategies, tips that would be helpful for non-white people, victims of white supremacy, do not be a spectator. We need help. Black brothers struggling to get a check cashed. Get school clothes, man. September, backpacks, shoes, all of that, haircuts. Get my check cashed. Did not. If you got any tips, hey, heard somebody else, direct deposit. Direct deposit. That's one tip. Any tips Make friends with accounting. That'd be 2 tips. Go down. How you doing? What's your name? Mr. Jackson? You work in accounting? You're the person that makes sure we get direct deposit, all of our paychecks? Well, my name is Leroy Sharpton. I work over in the back section of the warehouse. I do the forklift and everything, but I just want to make sure I'm going to come by, wave at you every now and then. You need anything? Ice cold water? I got a bag of half-eaten peanut M&Ms. Anything else you need? Make sure that he knows you. So if they ever have to call and verify they think they got shiftless Negro, stole a check, going to rape a white woman, call accounting, say, Mr. Jackson, did you have any checks stolen? We got a suspicious Negro here. And he goes, oh, Leroy, I love me some Leroy. That's my favorite coon. Say, oh, all right. Then maybe you get your check cashed, see? Mm-hmm. If you have any tips, that doesn't ever happen to you. 1, you got direct deposit. 2, they call you Mr. Leroy Sharpton. When you go to the bank, you get your check cashed. They know Leroy got a job. Doesn't he work 45 hours a week? He pays his taxes. Come on in, Leroy. Cash your checkups so you can get your child their school clothes. That's how they treat you. You tell us how you did it. You get all the promotions. They don't come boss you around about your work schedule and tell you, hey, look here, Leroy. Got your direct deposit, but can't do no more hybrid. You got to be here all 5 days a week, maybe 6. They don't do that. You need to work from home, you work from home. You need to leave early, you leave early. You need to go do some school clothes shopping. You go do your school clothes shopping. If that's the setup that you have got, they don't call you names. They don't harass you. They get your name right. Please, we get on bended knee. How did you do this? Please, 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 can you share some of the details so that we can enjoy some of these workplace comforts? The number is 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Number again, 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. Let us know if you have thoughts, observations to share. Certainly if you have problems being abused, always welcome to share. We will do our best to use logic to help solve problems without creating new problems in the workplace. Get to some of the news items that we heard, and then folks wrote in as well. Let's see. First up, Amazon right here in Seattle. I saw that earlier in the week where they said, nope, got to be in here 5 days a week. I don't know. I'm going to have to go and look at the local Seattle news to see how folks in this here area, how are they responding to that? Has there been a, same way they responded to you got to get a vaccine, you got to put on a mask and all the rest of it? Like, you lost your mind. I am not coming in no 5 days a week. I've been wearing my footies and everything else for the 4 years. Now I'm coming back every day. I'm out of here. We have to see, how all that goes. I know we do have some people that got to work from home. Now, they didn't get to stay home every day, but they did get to stay home. Are you nervous? Are they going to rescind this, make you come back into work? Ride it until the wheels fall off if you can, but I would not be surprised if they try to encroach on that, and we like to keep tabs on our niggers. Get on back in here. Maybe even see if you can get that in your contract that you can work from home at least whatever amount of time that you have, that your hybrid situation can't be changed. Because I know it's white people, like they said, they got hired jobs in New York City and things of that nature. Man, they moved to like South Dakota and things of that nature. Like, are they going to move, relocate, go back, because of this change in policy? Have to see all that goes. Now, 2 times for Seattle, also right here. They are on strike at Boeing. Not paying Boeing is always in the news for something bad. Like, the planes weren't safe before. What's it going to be now that you got people on strike and furlough and everything else? Like, oh, man. Jinkies. Maybe while I'm out on furlough, maybe we can see if we can get a better job. So we don't have to be someplace where it's unsafe and we making planes dropping out of the sky left and right every other week. Man. That would be something to think about, too. You heard, I don't know if these were white people or non-white people that were on strike on the picket lines, per se, at Boeing. I guess I could have went out of my house, walked down to see. But it's not that many black people that live here. So I suspect it would have to be a lot of people classified as white out there at Boeing. Now, they said they did all the research, homework. They talked to people. They said Boeing is the better way to go to support your family. Seems like some of them are finding out, no. That is not the case. They don't want to pay workers correctly and all that. Hey, they're cutting corners, as they say, even getting the bolts and things installed on the plane safely. We certainly don't want to pay no workers, right? If anything, I would pay attention to that, too. How often have they been on strike? Job or place you're looking to work, how often do they have strikes? That would be a great one to look. Is there going to be a potential work stoppage? Save up money for that. Imagine that. You got to go on strike right at the same time that they got back to school. How am I going to get book bags and all the rest of it? Laptops. Man, save those coins. And they even talked about that strike spreading out economically because they got all these other businesses subcontracting everything else depending on Boeing. So if they're shifting down and not doing as much, that impacts a whole lot of other people in the region. Again, I'm going to have to look at the papers and such, Seattle specifically, to see, what local people are saying, and is this something that's impacting a lot of white people in the region. I thought it was funny. They said on the Boeing report specifically that they don't think this is going to have a major impact economically in the region because of the tech industry. I said, oh, man, with what they just said about Amazon, so is it going to be the same thing? The tech industry going to say, hey, man, y'all are back in, because Seattle downtown looks nothing like it did when the Rona started. Oh, my God. Like for the longest, it looked like a ghost town. If you would go downtown, especially like on 3rd, the major parts of downtown Seattle, close to the water, man, nothing, nobody. Not the way it was like in comparison to 2019, even 2020 before COVID hit. Oh, just nothing. Desolate. Because nobody's down there. Everybody's working from home. They had all that empty office space and everything. So are they going to make all these tech people, are they going to make all of them come back in every day, 5 days a week? Is that really going to happen? I don't know. I can also say with the businesses that are connected, they have a symbiotic relationship, if you will. I saw that with Seattle specific because you had so many people that were not coming into work. All the other businesses that are tack-ons to that do lunch and catering and all the other services for the people that are coming into work, even the dry cleaning if you can wear footies, you don't need to wear, your power suit and all the rest of it. A lot of those businesses were hurting too because people just aren't going into work. So we'll have to see how that shakes out and if there's going to be serious follow-through, people going back to work, and then how the strike at Boeing. Next, they had the strip club or exotic dancing club, I guess they called it, where they said the black people got bad shifts and were being mistreated. They tried to control the look of the black dancers. They weren't being compensated correctly. And they talked about the sexual harassment. I mentioned all that before with so-called exotic dancing, stripping. Wow. See if you can avoid all that if you possibly can. Everything about that. Safety. That was what I said before. That was the big one. Safety, because some of the females that I talked to who did that work, that was the number one grouse. Safety. And I can see why, because a lot of those environments, alcohol. We're going to get rowdy and have some female taking off her clothes. And I've been looking at Jim Jones. I done had about 5 shots of Cavassier. Like, oh, man, we are rowdy. Safety. Maybe they have security. Maybe they don't. I talked to some females who did that. Seemed like they worked a lot of environments where there was no security, or they certainly weren't very active security. Man, I would try and avoid that. I just don't know how much of that is going to change. I mean, I guess if you want to do that work or you enjoy it, whatever the case may be, do your research in advance. Talk to some of the people who work at the club or environment you're looking at. Do they have security? Is it safe? What's the policy if a customer's grabbing on you or whatever? Did they throw them out immediately? Do you have a signal where you can contact another employee and they can come handle the situation? Like what, get as much info on that as possible. If not, like, oof, man, that is so dangerous. And then sometimes they have private rooms where you can go for dances and it's like, oh my God. Ugh. And the racism on top of that, because they said the black dancers were saying that too. Safety. That's what I mean. Like, it would have to be black self-respect. Some things, this is not about an improvement. This is not the job for me. Deuces. This isn't even the environment for me. Deuces. Let's see. The next one, that popping over to LA, so they had the facility, so-called Latinos. Now, he said, white person hired all of these white people, race soldiers. Apparently they've been in prison. They're doing white supremacist gang signs. Whoa. What are white supremacist gang signs? I've seen all that with the Crips and West Side and Snoop Dogg and all the rest of Suge with the Bloods and all that. We got all that. What are the white supremacist gang signs? And they're flashing them on the job. Like, don't do no gang signs on the job. That's never come up before. I do not support gang signs in the workplace. But I mean, I wouldn't even know what I'm looking at. Like, they're just coming in fraud. I thought white people are ignorant about racism. He said they got rid of all the non-white people and brought in all of the thug, prison, white supremacist gang members. Can I get it one more time for the nepotism? Crony, really, real talk, might have been nepotism. These might have been his brothers and nieces, nephews, who knows? At minimum, cronyism. How many black people got that sort of hookup? All of my homies, that time we were in prison with Suge, they messed around and got us on that lame possession charge with intent to distribute. And they got us locked up on a 5 to 10. All my homies that we were in the joint with, I'm going to come out and get them all a job. We did our time in the clink, got our little prison gang, and then we flash our signs, grit on everybody who wasn't in prison, who's on the job with us, steal their lunch. Like, come on. And what even kind of job is this where you want a whole lot of racist prisoners who work here? Like, what is this? How many black people even have a hookup like that? You go to prison and, I don't know if the Amazon job thing will come through or not, but I know my homies, they always hook me up. They got all the black people over who were in prison, got the hookup job, benefits, everything. Okay. Let's see. My black brother in Florida who tried to cash his check. Can I get a sip of my smoothie for a second? Grapefruit smoothie today. Black brother tried to get his check cashed, get school clothes. Went to the bank 3 times. 3 times. Remember that program we did, Emily Flitter? White woman suspected racist. Her book, The White Wall. She was on the program beginning of 2023. Whole chapter about that. What's that, Brother Gus? When privileged black males like old Gus T go to the bank and say, oh, I'm going to get my check cash, get me a few nickels so I can go get me some chicken wings and chitlins. And, oh, he said school clothes. That was it. Get me some school clothes, have anything left over, get me a few snorts of crack cocaine. No. They said black brother came and they looked. Stolen. What? Why is it stolen? They tell the black brother, well, you come back the next day. That I've never heard. To cash a check, you have to come back. Do you have identification? Yes, no. Verify the check. What's going on? What is all that? You got to come back tomorrow. It's 2020. You're supposed to be able to use your phone and deposit a check. What do you mean come back tomorrow? What? Tries to come back tomorrow. Bank is closed. Okay. They said he comes back the third time. They call the police. Black brother, I was waiting when they said he came back and it was closed. They had locked the door and everything. They said he thought it was a COVID-19 procedure. Bless his heart. They didn't say he was outside jumping up and down. And you wait till I call Al Sharpton, and we're going to be protesting out here every day for the next month, and you no good crackers, and that's what you do. None of that. He thought, oh, it must be some COVID procedure. I'm going to get my mask, behave, wait my turn patiently. Like, man, bless his heart. Bless his heart. I mean, and in the book, incidentally, she didn't have no whole lot of instances of black males, and it wasn't any black females in the book, by the way. It was just privileged black dudes who had this problem. But it would be black dudes who they weren't, jumping up and down, curse everybody out, got a pistol hanging out of their waistline. It was none of that. None of that. None of that. Even Ryan Coogler, remember that one? He went to the bank. He had his mask on for COVID, in fact. And I think he had a hoodie on. They say anything. Rapist. Call the police. Call the police. Call the police. And I think he was trying to get like a lot of money. I mean, it's Ryan Coogler, so he got millions. So he was probably trying to get like $20,000. And oh my God. Suge Knight's nephew trying to do some sort of prison scam. Probably with Diddy. Get him, get him. And they called the police on him too. Matter of fact, it reminded me of the White Wall. We had Emily Flitter as a guest on the program when they said the black brother who went to the bank kept going trying to get his check cash and all that. And they called the police to describe him. They said, he's black, hoodie on, potential rapist, black male, big shoes, 6 feet tall, black, dark eyes, black shoes, black pants. He's black hair, black look on his face. I think he was trying to rape a white woman, and he's black, extra black. That was exactly in Emily Flitter's The White Wall, and she wrote the email, or I won't say email, I had to go back to get exactly what sort of correspondence this was, but it was the same sort of emphasis over and not, we checked to verify, and Leroy did steal this check. There was a bloody fingerprint on it. He had a lot of pictures of O.J. Simpson in his wallet when he opened it up. None of that. It was black tennis shoes, black T-shirt, black sweatpants, black hat, black shoelaces, black dude, black eyeballs, black growing, black genitals, black fingernails. We got it. Black, yes, black. Get back. At least if it's not get back, get the F out of the bank. You know you don't have any money in that. Get on out of here. But how is it black male privilege and you can't even go to the bank? Like, they literally have whole chapters in books that white people have written about black males not being able to get a check cashed at the bank. What kind of privilege do you have? You can't even get a check cashed. Oh my God. Ooh. Now that's one right there. You don't need no book on racism. If you got The White Wall, you can just go get that chapter. But I didn't need that book. Tell your children all the fun you've had going to the bank, especially if you're a Negro male. Tell them about that. I told Emily Flitter, man, I need your chapter in the book, man. We might not even be on the cows. That's what I told her. If I could have just gotten my check cashed at the bank in California, might not be here. Gusty had to go through that, haven't I told you? All the time. Let me get prayed up, as they say. Let me think of the ancestors. Let me get about 15 pieces of identification, birth certificate, blood sample, urine sample if need be. See if I can go in here and get my check. I told Emily Flitter, I stopped her. I said, hey, I went in one time. It was a black teller. Black brother? Nah. It was a black teller. And she said, man, I got to verify this check, you know, because you out raping, looting. I got to verify it. Make sure you didn't steal it. I said, of course. Praying. Calls the job. The white man, who I do know, answers the phone. Thank God. Thank the ancestors. He answers the phone, and the black female is talking to him. He didn't rape anyone. Okay. You sure? Here's his check. Okay. What? What? It's my job. That's what I do. I make sure they didn't steal the check with you. And she hung up the phone. But she hung up the phone. You could tell she was upset because she was still talking to herself. She wasn't talking to me, but she hung up the phone. All right, thank you for asking me what I'm verifying. That's my job. I call the check to make sure they ain't stole the check. You got some nigga here, think you done raped a white woman and stole the check. You won't come in here and ask me why I'm calling you to make sure when she's stamping my check. Now, I didn't say anything because she wasn't talking to me. But you can see when people are mumbling to themselves, you can kind of hear what they're saying. That's the gist of what she was saying. That apparently the white person on my job in finance who did tell her, yes, this nigger does work for us. Yes, this is his check. Apparently he questioned, why are you calling me to verify this information? And she got upset about that. And I told you this was a victim of white supremacy. This is probably the Negro banking policy in terms of this is what you're supposed to do, especially if it's a black person, black male, comes up here trying to cash a check. This is what you do. This is the procedure. And I know this because the white man eventually talked to me. I said, go to finance, make sure you know them. They can look out for you, hopefully. I went to finance. Kevin, white man. He called me over. Gus T, what it do? Black brother. He said, matter of fact, Gus, come here for a sec. Come here. Do you want to know something? We have hundreds of employees here, which they did. Lots of folks all over. He said, I try to browbeat you all, make people get direct deposit, but you don't listen. A lot of you all are hard-headed, so we do have to write out a lot of checks. Unfortunately, you all don't care about the trees, I know. He said, so a lot of people go to the bank, get their check cashed. Do you know? You are the only employee the bank calls to verify your employment. And he cracked up laughing in my face. He thought that was so funny. Black male privilege. Hope everybody gets their check. Get that direct. I told you, they told me, get that direct deposit. Then you don't have to. You can just pray and hope that the ATM machine works. You can use your card. You don't have to go in and deal with the old lame tellers, white or non-white. Direct deposit. Everybody, as much as you can, get direct deposit. Get direct deposit. Okay. We heard the training program for the white chicks so they can go out and fight fires. Now, I don't know if these are white women because they didn't have imagery with that, but I've heard these sort of programs before where they did have pictures and it was black females and it was a prison program. This wasn't a prison program. They were talking about being the boss leader firewoman. So just based on some of those details, I suspect these were white women going out and doing the firefighting job and whoopee for them, because I don't want to do that. Retired firefighters, too old, had your turn, all that, but nah, I'm good. Sounds like it could be kind of dangerous. And with climate change, we played that report before. Depending on some regions, California, where you are, that might not be the job that you want to do. You might be working nonstop. Dangerous, way more dangerous than getting a nigger knocker to arrest black people. Way dangerous. Firefighter, dangerous. Really see how brave you are day after day where you could get burnt up. But anyway, they got the white women out getting proper training, no less, because it is a dangerous job. You could die, get seriously injured. they get proper training. That was another one, because they don't generally give great training to black people. We get that old slipshod, we don't really want to do it, kind of upset about you having this job anyway, I'm kind of resentful about having to train you. We don't generally get that sort of great quality training. And then they look to refine. Did you hear? We go out, we do it, and we do it again, see if we can do it faster, more efficiently, but still safely. Any hoodles. I can't emphasize enough paying attention. News reports what's going on. The last report that we heard about the racism in the Maryland Police Department. Pause for Lynn Bias. Pause for Freddie Gray. Now, we've heard a lot. We just finished the zebra murders where they were talking about black police officers, non-white police officers being mistreated, not welcome, all the rest of it. Lots of that we heard within the Maryland State Police Department. They're supposed to get their multi-million-dollar settlement. They've been talking about that for a long time. With that particular police department and many others, again, there is a notion. If you work for the police, you are white, period. Even if your birth certificate says you're a non-white person, you are the skin complexion of Lupita Nyong'o, some still say you are white. I would say there's lots of data that ain't true. You will just be a victim of racism with a badge, and a lot of suspected race soldier co-workers with a badge who hate your guts. Also sounds like an unfun work environment, but there you go. I'd be curious to see what happens in terms of if they do get that money and how it's allocated in Maryland, how that is adjudicated, but more to come. We'll pay attention for folks in the DMV area. Now, I have to come back to the Haitian report a little bit later because I wanted to get to the emails. We got a number of those. The email address again, untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. Not for spectators. Let us know if you have thoughts, observations to share. Now, we got a number of emails. Email number one. Our Bay Area scholar contacted me about a week ago, and I read his commentary. I was a little confused. I was thinking it was related to something not work-related. And I had to look at it again. It's like, oh, it is very much work-related. So lots of reasons. Make sure you are talking to young people, non-white people, your offspring, about your job and just racism in labor in general. Super important. Bay Area scholar writes in, remember he's been working since graduating, great academic work. He's been doing work as a barista and trying to do applications and figure out his next career move as a young scholar. So this email, he says, I wanted to update you all on my recent changes with my employment and my next plans. I've decided to resign from Target, Starbucks, and move down to LA with some of my college peers. They all have an apartment already, but needed a new tenant to swap with the one leaving. It was a tough decision at first, but I decided it would be good for my career if I go closer to where everything is happening. The process was simple. I gave HR my 2 weeks notice and told them I won't need to transfer. I did not want to transfer because I don't like Target's benefits, and the nearest one from my new place is a 15-minute drive. Throughout this time, I wasn't really vocal about my leave to anyone other than my immediate Starbucks coworkers. Brilliant. Can't emphasize that enough. If you're on a job and you're going to transition, if you're moving to another state, another country, you're going to Elon Musk, to the space station, whatever it is, you do not need to share all of your future plans with anybody in that environment. These are not your homies, your pals, your friends, none of the above. And if any of them are racist, they might, have it in mind to sabotage what you intend to do. So, mum on all of that. You don't even need to tell them that you put in your 2 weeks notice and yeah, I'm going here or I'm moving there or we're doing it. None of that. None of that. None of that. As little as possible, and you can think of what you want to say in advance. I'm just taking time to try to process, figure out what I want to do next. You can say that, but I would give as little detail as possible about what your future plans are going to be. It continues. So not vocal. When I told them the news, they didn't know how to react. Knowing that I am what keeps the store stable, they didn't know what to do for after I leave. Some even desperately wanted me to stay. All while I announced my leave, our previous manager decided to also leave to go on her cosmetics journey. I thought that it was interesting how she was ready to leave around the same time that I was going too, but I had bigger things to worry about at the moment, so I let it be. Towards the last few days, HR did decide to call me to double check that I was leaving, even though we had this conversation weeks in advance, and they told me that there's nothing else for me to do, and they'd handle it. They were probably like, oh my gosh, this nigger, competent, had learned, because he had told us he had done the different skills test about making the different drinks and knowing the menu, so he had got different certifications and things. They're probably like, oh my God, he was competent and worked the extra shifts and all of that, and he had asked for a raise, remember, because he was working really hard. And we were like, man, you should ask for a raise, because he was staying over his lunch break because they were understaffed and short-staffed and didn't have people even getting in trouble because he wasn't taking his lunch break. We said, man, if they're not going to give you a raise, pump your brakes. It's no need for you to be working 20 people's jobs and doing as much as you can and all that. Oh, nah. Shift down, do about 70%. 70% of the work if they're not going to give you a raise and properly value all of your hard work. That was what we said. It reminded me of that immediately. Like, I bet now they're thinking, wish we had paid him that extra money now. Maybe he would have stayed here a little bit longer, could have helped us transition, all that. Nope. Tough nookies, keep this old incompetent setup that you got. She says, while I gave my notice, I worked on my driver's license, got in contact with some industry connections, and let them know of my new plans, and I got to develop myself a lot more for my new chapter. I was able to gain all my certifications from Starbucks, including some advanced ones, so I can aim for higher level positions. I'm in contact with a few fellow clients as well as some leads for just a simple day job. I have acquired a lot of savings, and I felt prepared. I decided to not make this a big deal at work because I knew it wasn't really appropriate to go in depth about my plans to people I rarely talk to, so I decided to keep it strictly managerial. Brilliant. These are not my homies. What are you bragging to them about how great it's going to be? We got a pool and a jacuzzi at the house in L.A. and Kendrick Lamar is coming to have brunch with. Nope. So they can get mad and key my car, try and sabotage me. Nope. And this would hold even if you work exclusively with non-white people, even black people. I'm not telling all of you everything that I'm going to do and where I got a job. None of that. None of that. None of that. We are not homies. We are not friends. We didn't start this journey together. What, are we going to be pen pals? It's totally different if you have a rapport with that person. Maybe you knew them before you got there, or we really bonded while being here. We have a level of trust. You can tell them individually, and I would probably tell them discreetly, not in the workplace, and I would probably encourage them, keep this to yourself. This is not, I'm not telling everybody and all that sort of thing. It's like, oh, okay, got it. Keep it on the low. No problem. Discretion. As of now, I'm currently moved into my new room in L.A., living with some peers from college, all non-black. However, they mean well, so I'm keeping everything cordial while I look for more industry positions. You said all non-black. Now, I don't know if these are all white people, non-black, non-white people. I don't know. White person meaning well. I have seen some real tragedies start off with that as a opening. As a well-meaning white person. Whew, man. Stay tuned, I reckon. I guess I said with all that, if it's a situation like that, especially moving to such an expensive cost of living area, LA, Seattle, San Francisco, be alert if your career move requires a move to those types of locations. Be alert about housing, because, oh man, that could be shaken up moved, all kinds of things. You could have housing problems. I would be on the lookout. He said he saved up. Brilliant. Save, and I would be abreast of housing. If you need to look, if there are better housing options, all of that, and saving those nickels. If you're in some place like in LA where you already know, oh my God, the rent is an arm and a leg, and all of that factors in and even can hamper your job search and or people getting jobs where they're not able to afford the cost of housing in the particular area where they live. So always the roommate situation, man, be codified, be smart as you can, be safe with that situation as well. But bravo on leaving professionally. That's something that we've talked about and I've encouraged for years. When you leave a job, he didn't say anything about cursing everyone out there. And, I went and urinated on the ice cubes and, sabotaged all the lattes for the day and messed over their milk samples. None of that. None of that. Be professional. They got cameras now too, but be professional. White people can sabotage you moving forward. Give your 2 weeks notice. Work your shifts. Get all the last coins and what have you that you can moving forward, and deuces. Be professional in the workplace. Try as best you can to make it so that people don't have a reason to have a vendetta against you as you move forward in your career, because white people love that. Say that you wronged them in some kind of way, so they got to have a grievance and try and mess you over in your career for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Lots of that sort of thing. So I would not encourage any sort of pettiness on the way out. Cursing everybody out in the parking lot and doing donuts as you play Kendrick Lamar on the last day. None of that. None of that. Put your 2 weeks notice in, work, deuces, and then, like I said, discretion, so that you're not blabbing all of your plans to everyone in the work environment. Congratulations, Bay Area Scholar. Say hi to Kendrick Lamar. Let us know how things are going in LA, and best of luck with the new roomie situation. Mommy is proud, I am sure. Email again, untiljustice@gmail.com. The number 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Let's see. Other folks who are with us, if you have commentary to share. I guess we should do this ongoing. We heard from Bay Area Scholar. He's certainly not child anymore, but on the younger end of the spectrum, starting out his career. Any parents, recommendations, things that you tell children, younger folks, that they should know starting out their career? That is always important. So we have any tidbits that folks share with younger people as they're starting out their work career, always good to share. Folks who dialed in with a hand up, if you have commentary to share, line should be open. Let's see.
Can I be heard?
Bay Area Mommy, yes ma'am.
Greetings to you all. Thanks for taking my call. So last night, somebody knocked on my door or rang the doorbell, and I opened the door, and there was a stranger at the door with an apron. And she said this was for my son because before he left, he did all this super testing to be a coffee master. So his black apron says coffee master. So I guess at Starbucks, baby, I don't know, I didn't notice, but apparently there's colored aprons. So the ones in green are just the regulars. And the masters of coffee were black aprons. So he's got that. And he did that on purpose, learned all that stuff, took all those tests and training so he can have that when he left. Also, where I think it's a 10-minute walk, the Starbucks, and so he moved to North Hollywood. So the Starbucks there, he interviewed there twice. So I guess on Monday they'll give him information, and I think they were impressed with his knowledge as well, because he, I guess, learned all that stuff. And as far as the roommates, it's one white male that he roomed with in Massachusetts. And some white girl who's dating an Asian male. So it's through those three and he. So what I told him is, I didn't want to say so much. So what I told him is how flaky the white girl is. So she's always flaky. I said, just be cautious. Keep your room door locked. You don't need her to get you a job because she would always, I'm getting it. She's had 8, 9 jobs since they've been out of college. They've only been out of college a year. And every job that she gets, she feels that she's so superior, she shouldn't have to start at the bottom. So they'll have, get the coffee to file this. She doesn't want to do that. She wants to come in, design it, and develop it games or whatever it is that she thought she should be coming right in doing. So I just told him, you're skilled enough. I just asked, I said, did she graduate summa cum laude? And he said, I was like, you don't have to think about it. It's yes or no. Did she graduate summa cum laude? And he said, no. I was like, exactly. So you don't need her to do anything for you. Get your own stuff, because later what will happen is you'll be reminded of how this person did something for you, and now you're owed a favor, and you don't want to be stuck in a position to owe anyone any favors for a favor. So do your own thing, get your own stuff, and room. I also let him know that the rooming is temporary. They're just temporarily with whatever until you do something different. And my door is always open. So if anything gets hectic, he can always come home. Or if I have to move, whatever, however, it'll work itself out, because I totally support him. And if he needs help, even if he makes an incorrect decision, I just appreciate that he goes for it. So I noticed that they're not friends anymore. They're, I forgot what he said. What did he call them? Whatever, but I noticed that he doesn't use the word friends anymore, because at first they were white friends until I sent that email asking him what does that mean. So now he pondered on it. So we're getting there. We're getting there, just small steps, but I am proud of him. And sad because it's been about 2 weeks. My daughter came and got him, and she drove him there. It's different because he got dinner every night, and now he doesn't get dinner every night. But the young lady also, when she was giving me the apron, she said they were all crying when he left. And she said that everybody quit, and she's quitting as well, because ever since he left, everything kind of dismantled itself. It's just awful. So she said he was the structure of the place. And I just thought that was neat. So I just wanted to add on to what he wrote or sent in. As far as me, so today was Pride Day. So this is what I like to say. A parent came up to me and asked me, she's just flinging this paper, and I'm looking because I do morning care. I do breakfast to make sure they're not standing outside in the morning. So I get there at 7:30, and I leave at 6 for aftercare. So the mom asked me, what's this? What's this Pride thing? I said, hey, I don't know. I don't know. I try not to know. I don't know. But they had a Pride parade. I personally believe that they have the Pride month or Pride parade in September, because in June, I think the Pride month is in June, and school's not in. So I believe, because I think they leave at the first week of school, so I believe they have it in September to make sure that they all the queers and anti-sexual people can still celebrate. What they did is included any kind of pride. You know, you proud, you black, you proud, all right. You a leprechaun and you proud, okay. Well, you proud of your hair? Okay. So they just mixed it, they just twisted it a bit to make it to where anybody's included. But it's focused on gay pride, and I'm only saying that because just the things. Everybody loves everybody. We love everybody. The kids, even when they made their posters, it's like, love is love. We're all welcome here, and just that kind of stuff. It's the things that they were told. And it all looked like most of their pride was rainbow. So they did the parade. The kids are walking. A lot of kids weren't there. A lot of parents removed their kids out of a lot of kids were like, oh, pride, they ain't coming to school today. Oh, no, he ain't going to be walking that parade. Oh, no, that was the attitude. So the guy, the lady that the guy that dressed up like a lady, the one that I called a guy, and they said they're Miss, they identified as Miss, he made a statement that he was very upset that the parents were pulling the kids out. And he was dressed up and everything. He had all this little, you know how the ladies and friends, they get to doing all that stuff with the makeup and decorating their eyes and different colors, maybe some white over by the corner of your eyes, maybe, and then some other colors. Is crazy. So, Lord help me. And the little booby pads, the little shirt, and that was all frightening. But this person was overexcited about this day, even when it came to our morning announcements, because I come in for the morning announcement for about an hour, and I try to get there to do the, all the activities, because I just sing with the kids, so they'll know, okay, everybody thing. So if I participate, then make the kids participate, and maybe the other adults as well. So today is a good day. Today I'm so happy. Today we're having a exciting day. It's Pride Day. And then as he learned that parents are like, oh, heck no, proud of what? Oh, no. And, we have a lot of Yemen and Muslims at that school. So they definitely wasn't available for all of that. So he just said that he thinks it should be mandatory, she says she thinks it should be mandatory that everybody participates in this. And it's not right, because you guys pretend like it's all anything that got something to do with queer. Everybody just gets mad, and it just took it to a whole nother level. So is it queer? I thought you guys said it was just pride. But is it queer pride? So just that. But I spent the day, a good portion of my day, with the little boy that was in the room. Had a doctor appointment. He didn't come, even though the man ended up coming. he didn't come, so he had to go. And I even saw the man driving around in the neighborhood on his bike when I was just leaving before I called in. It's like, oh, hey, what's up, Mr. Boyson? And he looks, I'm looking at him. He looks, hey, monkey. And he was just riding on his bike. So that's why I believe he treats the little boy a particular way, because he knows the part of Oakland that we're in. And white people, they put us where we're placed, So you already know what their makeup is, similar to what the living conditions are. And now maybe that's why you treat the little boy the way you treat him, or thought you was going to treat him the way you were going to treat him, because he's black, and that's how you treat black people. So I don't know why the children are so out of control, but the children are out of control. They don't want to listen. They argue back and forth with instructors. First grade, second grade. Second grade is really, I spent time in general ed second grade today for a few hours. It was insane how the children were not listening to this teacher. Nice, cute little young teacher. Poor lady. I wonder why sometimes the teachers are looking so upset in the face, and if their classes are anything like what I saw today, I could understand why the teachers don't know what to do with the children because the children, basically, they do what they want to do. And because our school doesn't suspend children, oh, Lord, it's something else. And then they're a product of their environment, and the joke is totally on them. And that school only goes to 4th grade, so, you know, they only have to deal with you until 4th grade, and then, you know, you go to the next school. And we played a game in one of the classes. I know because I went to 1st and 2nd today, general ed. And just to show you how I don't know how the instruction is getting through to the children, it's like I spy a color. So maybe the teacher looks at a color and then, or something, I spy something yellow. And then you have to guess what it could be that she saw that was yellow. And whoever wins or guesses it, maybe it's their turn to be the spy. So a little girl looked like she was Yemen. And so she's like, I spy something pink. So everybody looking around trying to find what she spotted that's pink, and they go walking everywhere. There's something that's pink. Everybody, you know, pink, and then so it's like, well, hell, what? Is it this? Is it this? Is it what? And she, no. So now we don't have no time to try to guess what you're talking about. So, okay, what was it? That over there, that's that clipboard. The orange clipboard? Okay. All right, I'm ready to go. So they don't even know their colors, and this is 1st grade. And I'm not saying all of them, because some of the kids, that's orange. And, you know, then the teacher says, you know, they're going black. The teacher just looks, and she looks like she's either Spanish or I don't know what she was, not black or white. And a lot of the teachers are not black. The ones that are black, it's a couple of them. Then some that say they're not black. Maybe there's, I don't know. What is that? Is it West Indies or something? So I don't know. Or Spanish. I don't know what it is, but I notice a lot of people that look black, they say they're not black. So you don't know. But they're just going through the motions because a lot of you can do all the little pride stuff, and it's a lot. They have a lot of wiggle room they have a lot of space to not do and get away with, on top of they're just black kids. And you can do the bare minimum, because if they can't read in 1st grade, they weren't reading in kindergarten. A lot of the 2nd graders can't read. So I'm reading a story. I'm telling this little boy, okay, read me this story. He couldn't read it. 2nd grade. They can't read. 2 or 3 letter words, they can't read. So my question is, what are we doing? What are the instructors doing? And you kind of know that they can't read, at least by now. It's almost October. Next week it's October. So you know now. So what are you doing? How are you helping? There's some kind of computer program, because they come up to where I spend a lot of time and do this program with these tutors that help them online with reading comprehension. But that's only for 20 minutes. And then that's over. So you play around with sex. The joke is on the offspring. The joke is on these children. They're out of control, screaming and hollering. They get sassy attitudes. And, what? I'm doing this. No, I'm trying to do this. They have this adult hairstyles. They wear these adult braids. And they have their long, insane, like Rapunzel long. And all they want to do is dance, because we do have one of our electives. We have music and dance, and all they want to do is dance. And we had dance yesterday. One of the little girls, 2 of the little girls, they must have took their shirt off for dance, because it's a long mirror in the dance room, which is also where I do my after-school program. And she had on her little T-shirt, like the spaghetti strap T-shirt, So she took her shirt off to dance, her and another little girl. And so they looking in the mirror at themselves with their little spaghetti strap T-shirts on. And then had the nerve to pull it up so you could show your stomach. Now, nobody redirected them and said pull it down or anything. Just let them do whatever. So when they're dancing to whatever music, they just looking in the mirror, dancing, doing whatever they doing, and it's a lot of work. Oh my God, the joke is on the offspring. I saw one of the parents standing at the liquor store this morning, the local liquor store, talking with his bottle, his black bag and his bottle, talking about whatever they talking about, him and his weeples, while his son struggles in class. He's first grade, struggles in class, struggles to sit down, struggles to pay attention, struggles with everything. So it's very awful. One parent came and told the after-school program lady she don't even know what she's talking about. She just came right on in. The little boy's face was looking all turned up. This lady gonna tell her, your son's like crying. She was wrong with you. What's your son crying? And she's like, I just telling him to fix his face. You don't even know what's wrong. You ain't even checking on your son. He crying. She's like, I'm just telling him to fix his face before he come in here, fix his face. You don't even know. You need to get up and see what's wrong with your son. And I'm looking now, mind you, his face, we know what's wrong with the son. He knows what's wrong with them, but you're just a parent picking up your child. Can you just pick up your child and go wherever you're going? But just that kind of stuff. We're all worried about all the other things while your daughter the next day is in the office today for terrorizing somebody and pushing them because they got mad at them. She got mad because they said, we don't want to hear that you didn't get pizza. Because one of the guys, the after-school program, the loud guy that yells at the little black boy in the room, this gentleman decided to order pizza for his little group. I think he has third, fourth grade in the cafeteria. We all have sections. So this man decided to get pizza. I didn't know he was getting the pizza for the program, but he's getting it for some of the kids. So everybody didn't get pizza. So why would you do that? Why? That's so confusing. You're going to get the pizza, give everybody the doggone pizza. Don't get pizza and then let the other kids. It's only the after-school program, so who are you to set that kind of standard up? Just give the kids the doggone pizza. Don't buy pizza and then give certain kids some pizza to where it causes a whole confusion to where the kids are fighting. So I didn't get in it. I just thought it was frustrating for the children. These people. So what I did today, we didn't get no computers today, especially after I had to be in the general education class. We had no computers today. I missed recess. We went out late for recess, but I didn't want to take recess away from them because that's their only release. And they've already shaved off 10 minutes of their recess outside their normal recess, so I don't like to take away their outside time. But when you get inside, you're going to write a apology letter to your teacher, and after I finish, they end up writing lines. I will follow directions the first time 25 times each because it has to be, the children can't conduct themselves like that and there's no consequences and you just brush it off. And you go to, you're in regular class all day, terrorize the teacher, then you come to the after school program thinking everything is okay because you repeat the same cycle and do it over and over. So I just told the teachers, hey, second grade, any issues with any of the teachers, let us know, and we'll deal with it in after school. However, because they have to learn that the adults are there to attempt to help them. So they get mad, they get real upset, they get to kicking and carrying on. It's fine. You can also not be in the after-school program as well because there's a waiting list. So I'm trying to get a grip, trying to get an understanding. It's so sad what the trauma that these children have and how they release it and how much help they may not get at home from the adults in their lives. So thank you for taking my call, and I will mute my line.
Proud. Much obliged. Bay Area mom. Proud. She gave the update. She said they brought the apron in tears. Bay Area scholar has left the building, and the whole coffee shop has gone to the dogs. Oh, metaphor. He left, I'm leaving too. Oh, everything is just awful. That is, man. Should have gave him that raise. I said, should have gave him a raise. Maybe would have stayed a little bit longer and all of that. See if he could have worked things out in the Bay Area, which I'm sure he could have, but nope. They'll figure it out. I am sure. That right there also would be a great illustration on jobs. Try to learn, as much constructive as you can. Now, I don't think Bay Area scholar, I don't know his deepest, innermost secrets, but I don't think his aspiration is to own a Starbucks. I don't think. Maybe it is. Who knows? But he said, I'm here. I'm going to learn things that are constructive. Not here gossiping and talking trash about other people that work here and what she had on and all that. No. I'm going to learn these drinks. Remember, he told us, he said, I did it quick too. Studying, reading. Use that. Make sure that I can move up the ranks. And if I want to go get me another job, different Starbucks, I have to start at the bottom. Way up at the sea. Everybody else got these old lame green aprons. I got the black master. Dr. Welsing might even say something about that, right? They could have picked any color. They could have picked white. That's not what they did. They picked black. I'm a barista master. Spectacular. And that'd be great. That's way better if you can be in LA. Super expensive too, just like San Francisco, Bay Area. Hey, I don't have to start at the bottom. If I want to get something to hold me over, put my black apron on, and they can tack, which is what they should have done when he had the job to begin with, tack 5-6 zeros onto my paycheck, and I can hold this down for a little while until I get something really cool that I want to do in LA with even more zeros on my check. Brilliant. Let's see. And brilliant suggestion with a roommate. Same thing with the coworkers. These are not your friends. These are not your friends. Lock that door. These are not your friends. And you don't want to be beholden to a white person around. I got you that job, Leroy, so, nah, that's all right. That's all right. Let's see. When she started telling us that they were doing the Pride celebration, all that, pro-queer, who knows, when she was talking about all that at the school, I thought all that was in June. Like, didn't we just do, immediately? I was thinking that because that's a big deal here in Seattle. Now, I do know it's not everywhere, because I know literally right down the road in Bellevue, which is a suburb of Seattle, they do their Pride Parade in July. So it's almost literally like they have the big shebang here in June, Seattle, and then like a week later, the exact same thing, like 10 minutes down the road in Bellevue. So I am aware that that sort of thing happens in that nature, but I'm pretty sure in San Francisco, they do all that gay pride stuff in June. I've lived down there. I'm pretty sure they already did that. She told us it was in June. And that theory might even be accurate, that you all missed out, because a lot of the gay pride stuff for June, it's later in the month. It's not like they, start off and do all the big shebang the first week. It's like they kind of build up to that last week. At least that's how it is here. And I think my memory, I lived in San Francisco, my memory is kind of the same thing there too. So if you're in school, you probably would miss a lot of that stuff. In fact, a lot of the schools, they're out for all of June. Like they get out the last part of May, so they would not get any of the pride experience from a school perspective. It totally could be like, and in fact, they told you it should be mandatory. That also caught my attention because I'm not aware of anything at school that is mandatory except like breathing. It's mandatory. Like Negro Pride Month is not mandatory at school. They don't make you eat peanut butter sandwiches and worship Carter G. Woodson every day. They have black and white people say, oh, no, I'm good. I'm good. That Dr. King is a communist and a heathen, and I don't even dig peanuts like that. So, you can get Carter G. Woodson out of here, too. And that's all Negroes are going to talk about anyway. So, yeah, I'm good on all that. Hate You Give, yeah, put that on the banned book list. Hate You Give, banned book list. Yeah, we don't want to hear about that. I'm not aware of anything. Even sex education, that's not mandatory. You can opt out of that. Try and get in there and talk about LGBT. Tell it that this is mandatory. Got to let police, man. Ooh-wee. You will have all kinds of white people come in there and get on you. Mandatory? That's just bonkers. I mean, why? Even that. Now, I don't know if I would have, but that would be. Why should this be mandatory? And is anything else here mandatory? Because I'm not aware. Like, I would like to. That would be two, maybe. The first one would be, how cheeky do I feel today? Like, oh, really? Why should this be mandatory? But that second one, in terms of, is it anything else? I would like to know, because I can't think of anything. In terms of a school context, that is always given. You can opt out. You don't have to do this, that type of thing. He'd have to let me know. So that way, because I mean, if this should be mandatory in an environment where nothing is mandatory but breathing, that would be another one to think about prior to hitting the bedroom. Like, really? We want to expose our children to this? Any hoodles. Speaking of, she said they did seem like they had some parents who kept their children out and they didn't want to participate in all this, all the rest of it. Totally get that. Wow. She says that the children are, I don't know, they're not engaged. They're rebellious. Now, given the pride festivities and all that and queer pride or whatever it's supposed to be, I could see why there might be some, agitation with everything, and the dude there with the beard, sexual confusion and all of that. I mean, I could see why there might be some agitation with all of this, much less the content that's being given. Like, they got solitary confinement rooms and all the rest. Like, I definitely can see why there would be some agitation with all of this. But she said just they're into the dancing and all of that. And that Kendrick Lamar again said, man, Dr. Welsing talked about that in terms of that's where our focus is. That's us. Dancing, music, entertainment, YouTube. Probably these are children, if this is, I think she said middle school, these are children like 11, 12, 13, that age range. These are folks who probably at this point, they and their parents have had a phone or screen, probably a phone or some sort of screen or both, glued to them and their retina for their entire life. That's all I do is sit around and watch YouTube videos, TikTok videos, TV, Netflix. That's all day long. That's all my parents do all day long. Dance and dance and dance all day long. That is what is modeled. So that's all we do. Dr. Welsing talked about that. Nothing has changed. If anything, it's worse, because when she started talking about all that, everybody didn't have a phone in their hand and didn't have that phone from the time they were 1 so that they could dance nonstop all day long. They just had maybe a radio, and most people didn't have a radio back then that they could walk around with. Everybody has a phone, so it's even worse. Sexualized dancing to, hadn't it been that James Brown? That's what it's been, have a funky good time. That's James Brown. That's what it's been for a long time. It's just gotten worse. That would be another one. play around with sex, as she said. Hey, that'll be your child. What did we learn today? Twerking. Let's see. Oh, and man. And I mean, if you don't really have any structure, if you're not really going to teach them anything, we heard this yesterday. If we're not really going to teach them anything, we're going to get serious. The only thing we really get serious about is queer pride and a solitary confinement room. That's the only thing we really get serious about. Woof. And then she said, how much help do you get from your parents and all this? Like, woof, man, they dumped, I mean, hey, they did dump you in all this. That's the book we're reading right now. They did dump you in all of this. So, solitary confinement room and all. Man, when you play around with sex, man, no one to run to, no one to tell, no help, no nothing. And then like the total, like, that's why I said, like, I can see, it seems like there would be lots of things that would be agitating in this environment. It seems like there would be lots of reasons to be upset about things. They come and have pizza in the after-school program, but they don't bring pizza for everybody loves pizza. I was just saying that the other day. Everybody loves pizza. Like, it's very few things that just everybody loves. Now, I know everybody doesn't love the exact same type of pizza, and lots of dairy concerns, different toppings and what have you, back up with that pineapple or extra pepperoni, whatever. But basically, everybody loves pizza, especially children. Like, oh man, they wig out over some pizza. You don't bring pizza for everybody. Pizza for certain children. That's why I said, like, I can see, and then I'm not supposed to act a fool. You're going to bring pizza in my face. I love me some pizza. I can't even get a pepperoni. Willie can get pizza. I can't even get it. I'm fitting to show my whole hind. Man, I don't care what type of after school program, like, what? And then find out it's like 3, 4, 5 of us that didn't get no pizza, and you got some for Willie and whoever. Man, we are fitting to act a fool. And we gonna remember that. They said, write a picture, write it down, take a picture. I will. Matter of fact, we gonna act a fool with that whoever I think is responsible. It might be everybody, but whoever we deem, these other people that got that pizza didn't bring us a pepperoni. And then whiffed it in our face. Teased the delectable Negro, right? Delectable Negro teased us about it. Okay, bet. Okay. Okay, I'm remember that. Got it. No problem. I could totally see why it would be like, yeah. And then they go, I don't know what's wrong with them. We got to put them in the car. I'm gonna show you what's wrong. Sit around here and eat pizza up in front of Afe. What's the criterion? How about that? Is it a contest? Did you have to do something? You had to behave. You had to clean up the lot. Like, what did you do? What could you do to earn the pizza? At least let us know that, so we know if we hadn't been so shiftless, we could have got a slice. No problem. Don't even worry about it now. We're going to show our whole hind parts until June. How about that? That's what PP plotting on the playground, like, then wonder why. Man, everybody up here is so evil and bad. Going to be that way till June, too. People get real funny about food. I'm like, buddy, man, that's in the book we're reading. Like, boy, and everything I just said, too, where they deliberately make it so that some of the children get food and then the rest of you just get to be hungry and watch them. Delectable Negro, man. Play around with sex. Dr. Welsing told us about that as well. Much obliged. Bay Area mom thing. Man, even the dancing part, like, man, you can't teach us anything. And then you got children who need the most help, and they're over here gyrating, doing all this hypersexual activity. Nobody even go, wait a minute, let's, ladies. I mean, they're like 11, 12. Is that the sort of attention that you want to be attracting at 11, 12? Jerry Sandusky left and right? Like, really? Man, no sort of supervision, anything goes? Come on. Much obliged. Let's see. Number 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Let's see. Email number 2. Let's see. Black female listener. Hi, Gus. I've been attending the gym regularly. Bravo. Self-care. To strengthen my back, and I dropped a piece of equipment on my foot and hurt my ankle. That's not cool. I thought it was bruised inside, not realizing how much damage I'd done, so I kept doing the usual things for about a week. This obviously made things worse, and my ankle started swelling. Dang. I knew Shauna, or racist suspect Harry, would not believe me, so I went into the office knowing full well my ankle would be swollen by the time I got there. I showed Shauna first thing. She obviously didn't send me home anti-blackness, but did offer to get me an ice pack. I stayed for the rest of the day, which meant the swelling increased as it wasn't possible to keep my foot elevated. Man, that's lame. Like, she doesn't have the proper chair lumbar support for her back, and then now can't even get my foot elevated. Not like, man. Let's see. I stayed for the rest of the day. Before I left, I showed my ankle to another manager, racist suspect male, as Shauna was away from the desk she was sitting at. This meant there would be another witness. Super intelligent. My whole foot was swollen the following morning, so I emailed to let her know I wouldn't be in the office and that I was waiting to speak to my doctor. My doctor said it was most likely tissue damage rather than a fracture, as I was able to walk on it. I let Shauna know and said I would be working from home for a few weeks, as I was advised it would take a while for it to heal. I also took photographs of my ankle as evidence should I be accused of lying. Now, again, we talked about the pictures many times over the last couple of weeks or so, it seems. Any sort of incident, you might be accused of some sort of wrongdoing, lying, injury, property damage, criminal activity, anything major. There might have to be some writing about all of this as an incident. Take picture, and particularly anything where, oh my goodness, I can't even, think correctly because of how wacky the situation is, how stressful it all is, or whatever. Traumatizing, maybe shocking, surprising, whatever the situation is. Once you can kind of get your bearings, take pictures. We talked about this Bay Area mom when the child had got a piece of candy or what have you lodged in their throat and got sick. Take pictures, even of the candy. The incident with the drunken boss who hops in bed on the overnight trip. Take pictures, take pictures, take pictures. So, bravo. Taking pictures of her foot so she would not be, or ankle area, so she wouldn't be accused of lying. All of that, and then notification from the doctor, so you have as much evidence as possible. This is what I'm doing for the preservation of my health and safety. I give this context for further evidence of Shauna's contempt and the inappropriateness of her harassing me to the office on my personal mobile to return if the Wi-Fi fault I experienced last Monday was not resolved by the following morning. No consideration as to whether I could physically get to the office or if it was a reasonable expectation. She was really angry that I was ill the week before, which I believe was COVID. Man, COVID is still a really big deal. They've been talking about a resurgence, and it's autumn now, more people being inside and everything. Like, oh man, like anything where somebody is saying that they feel, I might be sick. Hey, keep all of your cooties. Get away. Just, get your Wi-Fi fixed so you can not be shiftless at home, but yeah, keep all your cooties in your residence. Thank you. Don't contaminate the rest of us. Let's see. No consideration. But the week before that, after the COVID, the week before that, she told me she would take credit for my work, asked me to sit with her so I could tell her what to write in a report to our bosses on the project, and suggested I apply for a course that is open to all staff as some sort of trade-off. What kind of foolishness is that? The day after the Wi-Fi fault, Shauna sent me an email notifying me that I had reached the sickness record trigger 5 times in a 12-month rolling period. 5 times in a 12? 5? I'm just, so 5 times. Does that mean that you get 5 days of sick leave in a 12-month rolling period? So I'm assuming that, so any time, so 12 from where we are, right? So basically October. So dating back the last 12 months to last October, basically. Does that mean that you get 5 days of sick leave in that time, or you get 5 times of sick leave? So if the first time you took off sick leave was for 3 days, let's say, and the next, ooh, that is, wow. I mean, I don't know, unless you take like a week off or a month off every time that you take sick leave, that seems kind of, I mean, draconian, dare I say? Man, 5, that's not even 1 sick day per month. That's like 1 sick day every other month or so. I mean, over a 12-month period. I mean, during the COVID and all that, like, dang, is that really? I thought they had that white girl who stole money and was drinking had to do like that. Wow. I'm stunned. If I'm being ignorant, if that, is excessive, if taking off or calling out 5 times over a 12-month rolling period is excessive, you can let me know. If I'm shiftless in my thinking or what have you, just let me know, and, right on. Let's see. I don't take a lot of sick leave. I was unwell a few weeks back and took Friday as sick leave, not realizing it was COVID, so I had to take the following week because I was sick, still unwell, and needed to take enough time to get well. I don't take lots of sick leave. Even if you need to take half a day, you can trigger the threshold for action by managers, which also has an element of discretion. See, that's what I thought. Like, it just seems like a really low threshold. Like, 5 times, like, unless it would have to be, like I said, every time those 5 times that you take off is you're taking 2 months off, a month off, 3 weeks off, something like that, where it couldn't be that you took off a day or 2 days and then 2-3 months later you took off another 2-3 days for, like, really? So over the past year you got what, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks of sick leave over the past 12 months? That's excessive? Discretion, that is key word, system of white supremacy, discretion, where it's up to, I can choose if I want to enforce a policy, be punitive. I don't have to do the same thing with everybody. It's my choice. I always interpret that as license to practice white supremacy racism, in this instance, anti-blackness. Continuing. This is obviously not being applied in the case of inebriated Annie. In my case, Shauna is enacting some sort of vengeance, even though she is mistreating me. That's what I said. Annie is the one who was drunk and stealing money and nodding off in the meeting and all that. Like, dang, I mean, how much sick time did she get? Like, that's what I mean about keeping track. That way you have a record of comparison. Like, now, wait a minute. Is everybody subject to the same rules and regulations here? Because, I mean, wow. Ted, he got 2 months off to go get, a tummy tuck, and Lisa, she got 3 months off to get the Brazilian booty lift. How is it that I can't get off a week because I think I got COVID? She continues, the day after the Wi-Fi fault. Oh, we got that one. No. In other news, we had an away day this week. Staff are based in different parts of the country, so some will have to travel inebriated Annie, who has never attended an away day in 3 years I've been in the team, apparently traveled to the city where the event was being held, but didn't show up. Her expenses, hotel costs, were covered. She just didn't show up. Talk about tact. Now, you've got a history of taking company money, going out, getting drunk, going to the strip bar, strip club, making it rain with company money. Now we're supposed to have our team get together and catch up what you've been up to and all. You don't even show up. It's like they paid for you to get. That's not even a vacation. She at the strip club again. She making it rain again. I thought they said, our former president told her, he's, man, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you get fooled once, can't get fooled again. We remember what you did last time, oh Annie. This time, bring us the receipts, we'll reimburse you. Bring us the receipts. We'll reimburse you. That way, oh, you didn't even, what? You just went to the strip club. That's on your nickel. And real talk, like that would be a reprimand. Like if that had been me, Leroy, some black person, a person writing in. You're supposed to be at the team. They would have come out and told her, see, you aren't part of the team. See, you're not even reliable. And you stole our money and what have you to get us to pay for you to go off and be tricking at the bar or whatever you did, you know, chasing sex workers or whatever, getting crack and fentanyl. It would be all of that. They already said you don't talk to us and you're quiet and don't speak and everything and are aloof. What's more aloof than that? We're supposed to have team building and you stand us up, lie, don't tell us in advance, and you took our money, made us pay for it. Come on. What does it mean? That's why I said they were talking about these old lame team exercises. The very author of this report, she was talking about they were doing these exercises and it was like far away, like way, when I say far, like she put a distance on it. It was something like, let's say, okay, we'll take Canada. Let's say we're in Toronto. You can look on the map. Let's say we're in Toronto. They were going to have like the team event in something like Montreal or something. Like, whoa, this is really far. And then get an attitude. She get an attitude. She doesn't want to come to Montreal. Like, yeah, I don't want to go to Montreal. I'm not interested in going hundreds of miles to have to hang out with you all. Like, WTH, man. Meanwhile, inebriated. Oh, yes. I'd be happy to go to Montreal. Anybody seen Annie? Y'all, I knocked on the door. I didn't see anything. Like, what is going on? What does it mean to be? That's, again, I can't say it enough. If you don't have to with those, whatever they call them, team building, away day, whatever little, title, if it's not something that's at your place of work, at minimum, in the same zip code where you work, oh man, I am not doing no, we got to drive 60 minutes out of town, down the river, and we're heading towards winter. It snows some places. I know it snows here. They have ice and all that. It gets dark early. Nope. If you can't do it in this town, then no, I'm going to have to be on Zoom and just let them know it in front. You got children, you have family commitments, you don't have time, you don't have a vehicle, gas is expensive, all of that. Way out of town. Come on, man. Time and energy. White people do a lot of things to pilfer our time. Even that calling she talked about. Got to be calling me on my mobile. They just had like laws passed in Australia about that. Like you cannot nag employees once the work shift is over. We hit 5 o'clock. Don't be calling and texting and messages and all that at 10 p.m., 11 p.m. What you doing? You got the Catch me tomorrow. And she said she was calling on my personal phone to nag me. Wait, are you coming in tomorrow? And all of it. Come on. That's even real talk. That's another one. So do you treat your white employees? Do you nag Annie, call her on her mobile personal device and ask her like, hey, Annie, you going to be there tomorrow? Hey, since you didn't come to the event, Annie, you going to reimburse us our money? Like, you going to call and nag her about all that? Or, nah, I'll talk to her about it during work hours. Trifling, man. Trifling. And what it means to be white. I've said that for you. Haven't I said that for years? White women. I have seen no better illustration of lawlessness in a work environment than white women. Anything. We do anything we want. Anything we want on the job. Maybe I come in, Fuller said, he said, white woman told them, I don't even have to wear clothes, niggers, and I'm still better off than y'all. Get it through your thick Negro skull. Remember that one? That was the first time he came on the program. He said it was a white woman, not a white man. White woman. I'm not even attractive. I don't even have to wear clothes. And I'm still going to come out ahead of you. Now get off the elevator. Facts. And that's still, that was when Fuller was working, so that's decades ago. That's last millennium. Still the case. Nigh on 2025. Number 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Hope your ankle heals quickly. She was at the gym doing the correct thing, trying to work out, strengthen her back, and feel a little bit better, get rid of some of that stress, and got injured. Man, I hope your ankle heals soon. Elevate. Maybe see if you can get some fresh ginger, fresh turmeric for your smoothie. Both of those are supposed to be great for anti-inflammation. Might be of some value, some help. And elevate, keep that, now that you can be at home maybe for a little bit, keep that foot elevated. Sit down and take it easy as best you can, but sending some healing energy to our author. White people at the workplace, even the non-white people, do not have your back or your ankle. Let's see. Folks who dialed in, star 61, if you have commentary to share. Tumlin Dice should be with us as well. Privileged black male.
Hi, Gus. May I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Hi, good evening, Gus, and good evening, callers. I was calling to the office again today. Yesterday, it was Wednesday, and they told me they wanted to have a meeting with me and the other drivers. So when I had the meeting, as protocol with me, I always get the union involved. I always have a witness in the meeting with me. So I call the union to be there with me. And the supervisor commenced by accusing me in front of the other drivers and saying that they hear I was spreading rumors. Now, bear in mind, I come into work at 5:30 in the morning. I have no contact with no one. As soon as my shift is over, I go straight to the school that I'm assigned to. I don't talk to nobody there, just do my work. So during the meeting, I asked them, I stated in the questionnaire, I said, who stated I'm spreading rumors and what rumors? They couldn't answer that, you see? So they couldn't answer that. And then I said, well, do you guys know my routine? I said, have I spoke to anybody here in the last year? No. Well, and then they said, well, that's another concern we have because you go off to yourself. You don't say nothing to nobody. You don't talk to nobody, and you scare us. Gus, I dress normal. I don't dress unkempt. I'm always professional. I'm ex-military. I always go to work squared away. I ain't scared of nobody. But now, what it is they want me to open that gate early in the morning, and now they say they want me, because I don't even go inside the lunch area or where they hang out. But now the supervisor told me, well, that's going to start being one of your duties now, is when you're not doing anything, you need to clean up that lunch area and make it clean, because the other supervisor said that you used to do it and you used to do it good, and we want you to do it. I said, look, I'm not here to be nobody's slave. I said, I'm not in that lunch area none of the time. I don't even go in there, matter of factly. Why do I have to clean up other people's mess? So the union guy stepped in and said, well, I am right, because if he don't, use that area, he don't have no business cleaning that place or not doing any kind of house cleaning. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I stayed in the question, and they couldn't answer my question. So I said, you know what? I feel like I'm being harassed, because I come here, I don't bother nobody. And I said, but I told him, with the union there, I said, the person that's causing all this chaos in this department, you guys don't want to blame him. But I said, you're going to try to have me here and try to vilify me. It's the arch deceiver, the major white supremacist, that caused all this chaos between the drivers. But see, he's nowhere to be found. See, he's like an arsonist. He lights the match and start the fire. I said, but no, you guys are blaming me for all this. So the union agreed with me. So they said that they're taking a step further to see if how they could file a harassment charge, because even the union guy said, I see you come here, you don't bother nobody, you don't trouble nobody. I don't know why they're harassing you. He said, that's borderline harassment. So it never stops, Gus. So I just called to share what was going on the plantation. You know what I'm saying? So I'm scary, and now they want me to be a maid to clean up their mess. So it never stops. But thanks for having me share.
Tumbling dice, much obliged, privileged, scary, black male. Now that spectacular job of staying in the question lane, just spectacular. That's what I always recommend. He didn't jump up and down and get the, cause it's scary black dude. I'm gonna show you a scary black dude. What's scary about Leroy? He didn't do just questions. But now you see the illogic and the white supremacy of all of this. They started out, the problem, you're spreading rumors. Then it became, so what I just said, you're aloof, closed off. You don't talk to her. Which is it, man? Am I out here spreading rumors, or do I not talk to you? Which is it? It seemed like it can't be both. We'll get to all that. We want you to clean up the. What you? Wait a minute. What you mean? What you mean? Which is it, man? See, that's why I said I would, if I'm gonna get in trouble regardless, you're gonna practice racism, white supremacy, I would rather get in trouble being quiet. I would rather you come and try and make it a problem that I was being quiet, I was doing my job, I speak to everybody, morning, afternoon, all the rest of it, but nah, man, rumors? What rumor? We could even get back to that one. What rumor? Question. I love it when you can do the short. I don't even need a pen. I need to crack out my iPhone. Nothing. I think that's 2 words. What rumor? Now, I mean, that right there is stunning. Like, I mean, wow. What? You don't even, We didn't get to white people are racist. Helen been tricking around. Leroy stole a bus. I mean, we didn't even fumble into, yes, we heard you've been passing rumor. What rumor? Well, wow. I mean, just, wow. Wow. That right there is your blackmail, though, where, hey, we make up any, oh, hey. We heard his name this week. One more time for the great. You know O.J. Simpson killed 2 white people. Who saw O.J. Simpson kill 2? Hey! O.J. Simpson killed 2 white people. and played the race card to get away with it. And then tumbling dice, another privileged black male around here, spreading rumors about white people. I guess I have to retract that because we didn't even get that far. I don't know. He might be spreading rumors about Gus T, the cows, black people, Asians. Who knows? Rumors. Mr. Fuller does have that to 10 stops. No gossiping. He was already adhering by the policy, but really, if anybody is spreading rumors, it's his lame, racist white colleagues. They're the ones spreading racist rumors about him all the time. Once he neutralized it just asking questions. Simple question. This isn't rocket science. What rumor? Who did I tell? You got cameras. What? You got video footage of me? You got a transcript of what I said? Slick Leroy, shut up. And you don't clean up the break room anymore. You used to do what? And even this one, even that, we've heard that before. And in a variety of different contexts, shockingly, maybe it shouldn't be shockingly, but lots of different settings, medical settings, like office settings, you name it, where people are here to do a job that is not custodial in nature. I'm not disparaging anyone who does any sort of janitorial service. I'm just making a distinction. The people that I'm talking about in this instance, none of them are doing janitorial work. But the boss, someone who works there, sometimes it's not even the boss. Sometimes it'll just be a random white person, no authority at all, will come up, hey, we think you ought to be the one to empty the rubbish bins or clean the toilet bowls or something like, what? Why is it my task? Why do I have to be the one to clean out? Well, you know, we think you could do a good job. You used to do it before, and you did such a good job. It'll be a certain, you're just being shiftless when you come in. And then they switch it. See, you don't come in and talk to us. I thought you said I was spreading rumors. You don't come in and talk to us. You keep to yourself, and you're quiet. You said I was spreading rumors. Shut up. You said I was spreading rumors, or you're spreading rumors, and you keep to yourself. You used to clean up the break room, so we want you to do it again. I don't even use the break room, man. Like, why? Question, why am I required? Is anybody else required to do this? Why do I have to clean up after everybody else? Now, most people, even a white person, like, now, wait a minute. That is kind of plantational here. Wait a minute. Oh, and Mr. Fuller, he said that exactly what he did. If you got to go into it, especially you being summoned, you about to be accused, they say you stole a bus and put a bomb on it and all this old foolishness. Get a witness. You don't want them to say anything. Now, they were active in his case, union representative, but you really just want a witness. They don't have to say anything. They don't have to advocate for you, cheer, put no signs up to remind you to say this or ask this question. None of that. Just be there so you can hear, they can hear what's being said. That way, if there's any sort of discrepancy about who said what and all this, we have hopefully an impartial witness there. But he got his union representative there to hear all of this. And I mean, just the absurd and racist nature of these charges, because there's no way they would have a white employee who has been working and doing his job in a professional, acceptable manner, there is no way they would come in and make up a bold-faced lie. What are we going to say? Let's say he's been raping white women. No, we used that one before. Dang, let's see. Let's say he was going to shoot the guy in the head. Oh, we used that one before. No, dang, okay. Let's see. He's going to kidnap the children? Let's see. Rumors. That's a good one. Yeah. We'll say he's been spreading rumors. He hates whitey. We'll do that one. And then he's aloof. They love that one. They add that one on with anybody. Any black person. They're aloof. They're too quiet. They're not a team player. That's the jargon they love. They love it. You're not a team player. You don't kick it with the rest of us. We want to get around and watch the football game on the weekends, and you don't kick it with us at all. See? And that's why we gotta let you go or put you on probation or some goofiness of that nature. Like, what? I'm professional. I do my job. I speak. I'm courteous. I'm not looting the place. I don't use the break room, so I'm not loitering and leaving trash everywhere. What is the problem? Even the union representative. Yes. What is the problem? Why are we being so plantational? Why do we want him to mop and clean the break room trash from other people that he didn't even put there? Not to mention, I forgot all about that. Where he had told us that there was a white employee working there for the school system, I might add. They're working and serving children. Yes, you want to get them to and from school safely. That word again. He said that there was a white bus driver not following policy and procedure, might have been jeopardizing the safety of the children. Why aren't y'all calling him in, asking him questions and such, and going over all this? Man.
And Gus, if I may add, Gus, today he almost ran over a kid today. The same one.
There's tumbling dice, spreading rumors again. See there. Call you in on Monday, talk about that. Around here, falsely accusing white men of running over children. Ought to be ashamed of yourself, tumbling dice, running over children. That's embarrassing, though, like real talk. Like he almost ran over a child, then, another day. And that could be a lawsuit, I would think. I know if it had been tumbling dice and he had almost ran over a white child, the white children that he has told us about, they would have ripped him a new one. Like, did you see that black ass coon? Oh my goodness. And you wait till man, they would have lit the children I'm talking about, not his coworkers, not the boss, not the parents, the white children. They would have dealt with him first.
Yes, because the other bus driver was yelling at him over the radio because I was the third bus behind, and I saw the whole thing happen. But the other bus driver was yelling at him, "Stop! You're gonna hit! You're gonna stop!" You know, that type of thing, you know. And he hadn't been reprimanded. I didn't see the supervisor talk to him or nothing like that. So they ain't gonna do nothing to him.
Is that supposed to happen? If it's something like that, are you supposed to, what's supposed to happen? If that had been you, what's supposed to happen?
Oh, they'll call you in, and they will tell you that you need to bring a union rep. You know, that type of thing. But with him today, he because the supervisor called me today and asked me because me and that guy, he drops off kids at that route in the evening time, and I pick up kids in the morning time. So the parents call my supervisor, and they accuse me of dropping off kids half a block from the stop. So the supervisor called me and asked me, "Wait, are you dropping off kids?" First of all, she told me, "Is there a pothole or is there a snake there why you can't stop at the stop?" I said, "Well, what are you talking about?" She said, "Well, the parents, they said they drop off the kids half a block from the stop." So I said again, I said in question again, I said, "What time of the day they're talking about?" He said, "They're talking about in the afternoon." So I said, "Well, you got the wrong guy, because I don't even, that's not my stop in the afternoon. I only pick up kids from there in the afternoon. So already they're starting to accuse me of doing what he did. I'm getting blamed for his incompetence. You see what I mean? So he almost killed a kid today, and then they call him and say that he's not following protocol by hopping at the bus stop, which is serious, because it's a superintendent that sets up that stop, and you're supposed to stop at that specific stop, not 20 feet from that stop, but at that stop. You see? So now they're blaming, they call in and they blame me for what he did, and I have to clarify that he supervised the scene. Just about an hour and a half ago, I'm at home. They called me at home. An hour and a half ago, accusing me of this stuff.
That's another one. They love calling Tumbling Dice. He's privileged black male. They love to call him at home, nighttime, early morning before he comes into his shift. Like, oh yeah, we got to nag Tumbling Dice, accusations, lame apology, you name it, day or night, nag old Tumbling Dice about the workplace. But now see, white person, or I don't know if it's a white person, but it wasn't Tumbling Dice, different driver, is not following policy and procedure. They don't even follow the rules to investigate accurately to see, who exactly is the driver, who is at fault for what's happening on this route here. And it's got to be Tumbling Dice. You got to be like, whoa, I don't even, wait a minute. It's got to be Tumbling Dice. I don't even drive here. All I do is pick up here. I don't even do no drop-offs here. Like, what are you talking about? That's the same thing with the rumor. Like, they get down the road with the accusation before we even stop. Like, now, wait a minute. And y'all have GPS, you have cameras, all that information so you could investigate and figure out, what driver this was, where they were. You should have exact video and all the rest of it exactly, okay, this is where the stop is supposed to be. This is where they actually did stop. They have all of that. So it shouldn't be, really, it should be impossible for that sort of thing to happen. They do it all the time, even with the rumors. Like, what's the rumor? How do we even get started with a meeting about rumors? What's the rumor exactly? We didn't even get that part in the lie. Like, to say, okay, we're going to say we're spreading rumors that a white man hit a child with a truck. Yes, we'll say that. He's been spreading rumors that a white man hit a child with a truck. Did a white man? We'll just go with that one for the time being. Man, stay in the question lane. I cannot say it enough. And then the accusation, even I guess if you do have a job where they call you at home, I don't know, that would be up to you. Like, man, if you want to turn your phone off, if you want to properly screen your calls, you might even, want to be in a setting of answering their calls. I even know some people, they might let the not answer and then just call them back directly. So at least that gives you a few moments like, there they go. Gather your thoughts. Hey, you could even record. Call them back and, depending on the laws in your state or what have you, but gather your thoughts. Calm yourself, like, okay, I have a thought in mind about what they might be calling. It might be something brand new. They're calling you to accuse you of this type of thing. So take a few moments, because you're chilling, doing whatever you're doing on your free time. Uh-oh, here we go. Excuse me for a minute, y'all. I got to go. The plantation beckons. Get my notepad out. Okay. Just, that gives you a little bit of a better opportunity to respond, as opposed to them just catching you totally off guard and what? I did what? or even just, we need to bring your union representative in, like, oh man, here we go. That sort of thing. I got to think about that for the whole weekend. But yeah, one to think about for the people who get nagged after hours for workplace accusations, I guess we'll say. And I cannot say enough. Everybody should already be thinking, question. I ask questions, especially for workplace, but once they get to accusing and charging and you did this and you broke this and you didn't drop this child off in the correct spot and blah, blah, blah and all that, Oh, man. Deep breaths. Take a sip of water. Calm. Questions and answers, and get your question answered too. Calm questions. Sometimes they do all this just to get you riled up, because this could have went a different situation, different way too. If he had been riled up and I didn't spread no rumors, who you think it could have went way different. Calm questions. Even expect this. That's why I said talk to your offspring, because this is so common, so that they know. Oh yeah, happened again today. First they accused Dad of raping white women, then I was going to shoot that white man in the head. Today they accused me of hijacking a bus and not dropping the children off in the correct spot. What? Yeah, another day, another accusation. Oh, and the spreading rumors, that's another one that I'm every day. That's it all day. I said, dang, Dad, what did you do? I just asked questions. What rumor? Shut everything down right there. Or at least moved them on to the next false charge. Let's see. Much obliged. Tumbling dice. Let's see. Number again, 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Let's see. Retired firefighter in Florida should be with us as well. Let's see. Retired firefighter in Florida.
Greetings, everyone. Good job on the last caller. You're absolutely correct. Staying in the question lane. Also, you avoided the trap of having to defend yourself. That's a trap that your employer would do. And well, actually, if there's a black person involved, they're just copying what white people do. Is to try to put you in a situation that make you feel like you have to defend yourself. One should just ask the question, sir, ma'am, did I violate any of the company laws or rules? And if they say they're only going to say yes or no, and if they say no, then can I have permission to leave the meeting, since I have not done that, that sort of thing. And so that's a good job based on what I'm hearing. The lady caller before, I was just thinking, I didn't hear whether or not she took x-rays. That may be, she may have, I don't know, she may have. But just in case if she didn't, that might be a good idea to take x-rays. If you have any part of your body, especially down in that area, ankle area, and it's swollen. It may not be a real bad break. It could be a crack in the, because those bones they're weak like that, where they can easily crack. When something, because in a weight room, you got heavy metal things that fall down or whatever, that sort of thing, and they are strong enough to cause that kind of injury. I was just going to comment on what you were talking about early in the program, because you reminded me of some things back when I was fighting fires and saving lives. There were a significant amount of strip clubs in the areas where I worked at. They were not of the and of the high, quote unquote high class. That's the only thing I could think of, high class version of strip clubs. But nevertheless, they were strip clubs, and we would get calls. We would get calls all the time at these places. You're talking about a situation where you have alcoholic beverages are mixed with females who are fully naked or very partially naked, and there's activity going on, and so that alone is going to provide a environment of danger, actually, of danger. We were going to these places about once or twice a month, and that's just talking about on your individual shift, and there's 3 shifts. So there is different levels of these particular type of businesses. Normally the ones that are in areas where non-white people who are rich classified black reside, they are more, I'm going to use the term right now, more raunchier, not as clean as far as that concerned. And we were, going on calls where there was a lot of violence involved. And in a lot of cases, it was with the females were actually fighting each other. The strippers, quote unquote, were fighting each other for the most part. I don't think that is a place that one would want to be employed, not only as a stripper,
now to the presidential race and the investigation into gunshots at a Kamala Harris campaign office.
I mean,
it comes as the vice president
makes some shootings, fighting, that sort of thing, and security is kind of like that's some place where I wouldn't expect security to be pretty good, at. So one would have to, give some thought on those things before they take some employment in that sort of environment in itself. The female firefighters, I don't know what's exciting about what we used to call grass fires. I don't know what's so exciting about that as far as that's concerned. First of all, the fire truck is not going to be able to go into that environment. But what goes into that environment it looks like, I forgot the term that was called, but it looks like a small tractor. And I'm hearing something on the other end of the line. Okay, it went away. Was somebody with some kind of noise on the other end of the line?
Might have just been one of the other callers breathing, perhaps.
Okay. But anyway, it's like a tractor, small tractor-like vehicle that contains some level of water. And basically what we would do, you would be out there almost all day long with a broom. I mean, a lot of people think that you have a fire truck out there with a hose. No, you're not going to put that 6-figure fire truck out in an area where it can be sunk down into a lot of mud and whatnot, immobile, and it would take amount of a lot of things in order to move that truck out of that area. But so I was just listening and wondering why the females would want to be in that type of environment. The danger issue would be from the standpoint sometimes fires can in those type of areas can surround you, and before you know it, you are captured, surrounded by fire, which eventually would take your life. But not a very exciting place to be at. For the most part, you're there for it can be up to something like maybe 12 hours, and you're literally with a broom, and you're sweeping the flames out in that way. So I really don't understand on why that would be such a. I would say if I was in a helicopter or one of those aircraft that would spray the chemicals on top of the flames, that may be exciting, that sort of thing, but not so much of what we used to call grass fires, when it comes down to it. But I'm just listening to the reports that are coming out, and I'm seeing the people who are commentating they're really are pretty good as far as their codification is concerned, and that's what your program is about, and I think it's working, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Much obliged, retired firefighter in Florida. Lots more work to do to solve the problem of white supremacy racism. I don't know. I think some of the because I got the same impression. They seemed kind of excited talking about the segment with the firefighter clip. I also got the impression that they were excited, like, wow, this is fun. And I certainly can grasp if you are doing something that is constructive. You're not making crack cocaine, although I guess for some people that might be enjoyable too, but something that is actually constructive, and you're outside and moving around. I mean, it's not like you're watching paint dry, but man, it seemed like this was a thrilling activity. Just reminded me, Fuller Jr. has talked about how white people, find thrills in all kinds of things. Frequently, it'll be something where you might die or could be seriously injured. Thrilling and looking for thrills on the system of white supremacy did remind me of that for sure. I don't know, maybe being out there with the broom and all that, maybe that is fun, or at least we'll adding to our career skills. Maybe we can get a high-paying job and be a manager in all of this, maybe. Anyway, other folks, they have commentary. Number again, 605-313-5164. The code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Let's see. Give folks another minute or so if they need commentary, have thoughts to share before we wrap up today. We'll be in tomorrow. Compensatory call in 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Catch up on what has transpired over the last 7 days, heading down towards the election. Can't emphasize enough on the job as we head into the home stretch. No chatting about the election on the job. Even if you have other black people, non-white people, you are not paid to talk about the election, what you think about the debates, candidates, nothing. I just saw a news report where a white man was arrested for shooting at the mail carrier. That's like a felony. But shooting at the postal carrier, apparently over a Kamala Harris sign. So I cannot stress enough, and I've seen other, and I mean, this sort of thing happens, during election season every 4 years. I cannot stress enough, workplace, you do not assume just because it's another person that's classified as black or, any other metrics, you do not assume you and this other individual, you all will have similar views about the presidential election. Even if that's true, there are other people on the premises. They might overhear this conversation, and who's to say that you and every other person there all have the same views? That's laughable. So hush it. If it's somebody else, one other individual specifically, you all have rapport, get along and all of that, great. You all can talk after hours far away from the workplace. Talk about the election, counter racism, all of the above, but no, not in the office. In fact, I wouldn't, be reading the newspaper about the election or none of that either. Like, I'm just here to talk about the job, work, things we're trying to do, trying to get a raise, trying to get a promotion. That's what I'm talking about. Not you hear what Trump said about the Haitians? None of that. None of that. None of that. I did play that report at the beginning where they were talking about the Haitian migrants in Ohio. And that audio segment was President Trump, or former President Trump, yesterday, saying that the immigrants in Ohio, now he didn't specify Haitians, but he just said in Ohio, that's, who they've been talking about, the Haitians there, and saying that they need to be sent back to their country. We just heard the report last week where the word specifically that was used, this region of Ohio, they didn't have enough laborers. White genetic annihilation. They didn't have enough people. They sent out the word. These black Haitians came, they said they were a miracle. I was staggered, like, wow, what a biblical metaphor. But that's what they called them. We needed workers, man. We were hurting. A miracle. And now you said, oh my God, we got to get these Haitians out of here. They're killing the dog. Like, what? You said we were a miracle. And then you hear all that details where you got somebody who's not officially, wink, wink, affiliated with the packing company, but he loiters around the facility and sends these messages and communiques to get these black people, hey, come over here, you get a job. And they get over there. They said they had a house with 5 bedrooms with 40 people in it. Jesus, that's 8 to a room, if my math is like, good gosh. All of that to get over here and get a job, to be abused, mistreated, and told that we're killing and eating their pet dogs and need to be sent back. You told us to come in the first place. Fuller said that too, man. They do lots of that. You told us to come. You needed somebody to do these jobs. We came over here, and now you're going to say that we're lame and no count and shiftless and need to be sent back. What? Come on, man. Come on. Does not get any better than tacky. Extra tacky. Especially during anti-black and tacky for election season. Let's see. We'll assume, folks, everybody got in their commentary. We didn't miss anybody. Grant, we'll assume. Nabbed everyone. Again, we'll be here on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Invest if you think the C.O.W.S is constructive. Hit the blog, racism-notes.blogspot.com. Racism-notes.blogspot.com. You'll see the PayPal button in the top right corner. Directly below, you'll see the links for PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. The Cash App address, cash.app/$ the C.O.W.S. Huge thanks to all the investors who have supported, kept the C.O.W.S broadcasting for 15 plus years. Hopefully we have been worthy of your time and energy. You can also invest. Hit the Amazon wish list. It is listed under Gus T. Renegade. Enormous gratitude for all of the investors who have nabbed an item or 12 over our 15 years. Hopefully the C.O.W.S has been worthy of your time and energy. Sobriety would be best. Cannot stress enough. About to move into the so-called holiday season, where there will be lots of excuses and opportunities for drinking and happy hour and all the rest of it. We need high-functioning brain computers to solve our problems. Creator, we ask that you help us remain patient with other black people victims of white supremacy, we ask that you help us remain patient with ourselves. Remind us to demonstrate the highest levels of black self-respect at all times, in all places, each and every time we are in contact with another black person. It has been time. Replace white supremacy with justice immediately. Cal signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed.
I'm a victim, brother.
Problem. You're a victim.
Man, I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning.
Shut up.
The man has programmed my condition.
Mm-hmm.
Even my conditioning has been conditioned.